know you restore me. I can't live without you, Lord. Won't make it on my own. I'm begging you, Lord. Please have mercy. Sometimes it's hard. You're working on me. Some people can't see, but you said you love me and you never leave. So I trust, obey and believe. You've given me the keys, so now I am set free. Yes. Oh, where else can go but you, oh Lord? I know you restore me. I can't live without you, Lord. Won't make it on my own. I'm begging you, yeah. Please have mercy. Have mercy. Have mercy. Please have mercy, Jesus. Mercy.
Serving South Florida's diverse community, it is New Season Gospel FM.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, New Season Gospel FM, good evening. I welcome you this evening here with your host, Yesse, with Yesse, every Thursday evening at 6:30 p.m. here to enlighten you, to entertain you, to provide you with information and resources all throughout the community for all people, because everybody matters. Good evening, 89.1 FM. Good evening. If you're there on your way home, you're on the roadway, be safe out there. Good evening, and thank you for always tuning in to your favorite gospel station. YouTubers, how are we doing this evening? Good to have you there, and please go ahead and share that button so that more people can join us on this Thursday evening and have a great talk, because it is going to be a great conversation tonight. And Facebook, of course. Facebook, how are you doing? How you doing this evening? Facebook, I welcome you this evening. And please, again, go ahead, like and share so that all of our members know that we are connected. And as we get ready to start, guys, it is a great opportunity now to talk to you guys about something that I think is very important all year round, right? And that is caregiving, that is, caring for other people. And I know you guys are probably wondering, who is this young lady next to Yesse this evening? And so I want to welcome Miss Gio next to me, as we lovingly call her Miss Gio. And Miss Gio and I were going to have a conversation, and it's funny, it's interesting rather the way God works. Exactly. It's very interesting the way God works, because you might have an idea on a topic for a radio, or you might have an idea of how your day is going to go. But once you put God in it, God is going to take over. It's like, Jesus, take the wheel. Oh, yes, he definitely takes that wheel. And that is exactly, guys, what he did tonight. Because I promise you that what we're going to talk about was not my intention to talk about tonight. But when you think about it, and it's like, wow, okay, that makes sense. That makes so much sense. And I think one of the things is that we, as humans, we think so practically as to, I'm going to do things this way, my way or the highway. That's it, and we don't take the time to genuinely think of something from the heart. And when I say that, it's because that's how God would want us to do that. when we put God first, that is what God would want us to do, to do things with Him in mind first, from the heart, with a willing heart, with a giving heart. And when we do that, He definitely makes a way where there seems to be no way. So tonight, or this evening, again, I want to welcome Miss Gio to the conversation. And thank you so much for joining me this evening, for having our conversation.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for inviting me. Like Jesse was saying, 100% believer
Yes.
that it's not what we want or how we want it. It's how God wants it and what He wants from us. Really quick, I was supposed to be in a plane tonight, being super honest. And I'm here. I wasn't even planning to be here, sharing this beautiful time with Jesse. And it just came up. And I'm excited and I'm a little nervous, but I'm very happy to be here and spend some time with her.
It's amazing. It's amazing. She's telling you 100% truth that she was about to be on an airplane this evening, and here she is. And you guys will soon find out why, not only that it means a lot to me that she's here, but that we're having this conversation tonight. And I'm very grateful for it. And before we jump into our conversation, I want to just give you guys a little bit of information. This month of November signifies many things. And one of those things is Veterans Day, which is November 11th. And another one of those things is that this month is National Caregiver Month. And 1 of 3 adults in the United States provides caregiving services to a close family member. Okay, so whether it's the son to the mom, the grandma, whatever the relationship is. But that is, number one, a really high number. And it is a task that takes a lot from the person, physically, emotionally, and from those around that particular caregiver in the family. So that is a very serious topic that often goes under the rug in a sense, because we don't talk about it a lot. And that's actually how this conversation came about. And on a side note, it is November, so it is also a national holiday, which is my birthday coming up.
I was going to say that. Jesse's advertising her birthday.
I'm advertising my birthday. Cards, gifts, jewelry
You're welcome.
are welcome. You guys know my Cash App. It's all is welcome. All is welcome. But all kidding aside, rather, this is the greatest gift this evening. So I truly appreciate it. And so we wanted to talk about the spirit of giving. Okay, the spirit of giving. This is where we are right now. This is the spirit of giving. We have Christmas, the holidays coming up, and in the conversation that we were having earlier, you said something very, very important. You said that many times we ask ourselves, should we care for this person? Should we care for that person? Is this the right thing to do, or should we walk away?
Well, we was just talking, and it came out with this beautiful subject. And I was telling Jesse, it's not only to be able to care for somebody. Sometimes we have to care for ourselves before we care for anybody else. And most of the time, the other person that's on the other side doesn't really know if it's hurting you in different ways or what's going on in that situation. So this is why we started with this subject, and it was so important because, like I was saying, Jesse, it's not about helping anybody. Sometimes we said, "Oh, I don't have the money." Sometimes we just complain about the situation, but it's more about analyzing, praying, and asking God, how we plan to be able to help, and we can help so many ways, so many times with a phone call.
Right. It could be something so simple. But when we started to talk about that, though, we were saying that we must pray that God work with anything in us pertaining to that action that we are about to do, which is that giving action. versus preventing us from finding our own peace. So, in other words, yes, we're givers. We want to give. We want to do the right thing, but sometimes we we allow that to get in the way of ourselves, or between us and that person that we are trying to help, because it's like, are you truly helping? What is your purpose for helping? Right? Are you helping because they need your help? Because, they ask you for help, or were you helping because you're a nice person and you have a giving heart and you have a good heart?
Well, that's something. First of all, it's something that we have to analyze too. Some as people out there, like the takers,
Right.
and we have to be careful about that. But when we prayed and we give, we want to make sure that we give with our hearts, and we're not talking about just money. You give love. You hear to somebody. You share times. You pick up the phone and ask somebody if they're okay. Those are ways to give. And most of the time a lot of people said, oh, we talk about givers again. Oh, yeah, they're talking about Thanksgiving or money. No, it's not about money or the subject. We was just saying and talking about giving part of yourself. And more important is to be able to work with God, and in matters of, okay, you hurt me, you hurt my feelings, but then you can put all those things away and analyze if that feeling is worth it for you to keep, or you just move on and keep going with life and find that peace on you. Because when you find that peace on you, when you really find that person that you can care of and a giver, and then you find your happiness, believe it or not.
So basically, you're not looking, when you're a giver, you're not looking to receive anything from those which you are giving to, which in my opinion, and I'm sure you'll agree, you're never going to receive something or the same thing from that person that you gave.
Exactly. What did your mother used to say all the time, Yesse, when you was growing up?
Haz el bien y no mires a quién. Do the good, and it doesn't matter who you're doing the good to, and the good will come. And that's exactly how it is. Because again, you're not going to get the same from that person that you gave, and it's okay. It's okay, because that's not why we're doing it. That's not the purpose. The purpose is not to say, oh, well, I did this for you, so now you have to do this for me. That's not how it's done. Because if you're doing that, your heart is not in the right place.
Exactly. And I always told them, and my kids, I always told them, I help unconditionally. If I can do anything for anybody, I do it, because most of the time you do not gonna receive anything from that person, but it's a God out there. He's watching, and your kids, your family, people that you're related with, they will receive the blessings. So that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Caregiving love, caregiving your ears, caregiving of talking, and trying to understand and help the other person to understand we're not perfect. We're all humans. And that is what is going to make a big difference in this world. Everybody just want to do their own thing, or I'll just get offended and I'm going to move on and overreact.
Right.
Humans.
Right.
And if we just sit back and think, what are we doing to ourselves? Who did we hurting more, them or yourself?
Right. It's funny because you guys remember a story I shared last week and on the Yes with Yesse show, and to just piggyback off of that, if a certain situation happens between you and somebody else, they're already moving on. And yet there's times where we can stay in that situation because we're still upset and we're like, yeah, I didn't get an apology, and so on and so forth. Or, it's not fair. And so we revolve that situation on ourselves, about us, and all of a sudden it becomes about me. And nothing that becomes about me was ever about anybody else but you. Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes the other person doesn't even know they hurt your feelings, or
Right.
or they wasn't supposed to say it like that, or refer to you in different manners. They don't even know, but we do. So our heart gets upset. We want to cry, we want to scream, we get attitude, we want to overreact, and then it's when it's time to say, "Oh gosh, please help me," and pray and and ask for answers. And believe me, today I got it here too. When I'm sitting here talking with Jesse and to you guys, and it's just a matter of God using people for different matters.
Right.
I give you a little story of me. I moved to South Carolina 15 years ago, and I used to cry. Why you moved me? I'm doing so good here. I'm okay. What's your point? And one day, I used to work in a bank, and it was almost 40 people, Spanish people, sitting in the lobby waiting for me because they used to steal money from them. They knew when they got paid. They were keeping cash in their pockets, and they didn't know how to go to the bank, and nobody speak the Spanish. So I said, I was crying in the morning. I said, why you do this? 30 degrees outside. And then when I saw all those people waiting for me, I just cried and I said, wow, I have a purpose here. And that's what brought me here.
You have a purpose. So that's what brought you to. Where did that take you to? Where were you when that happened?
I was
You were
here.
here?
Mhm.
Wow. And that's a testimony, because you never know how or when God is going to use you, and just from knowing the story, then you were moved. God moved you, physically moved you to a whole nother state. Okay. And so here's somebody that's going, she's Hispanic, she's a Latina, she's basically moving away. She's leaving her kids behind. She's,
What I know.
what she knew, right? What you knew you were leaving behind. And what would have told you then that God was moving you with purpose, on purpose, for a higher ground, to make a difference in that community, in that area,
Yes, and it happens.
and it happens.
That's
It happens.
all the time.
Yeah, and it happens, and it happens, and it happened to you because you allowed God to move you. You said, God, use me, move me, do what you have to do, and God provided. He moved you, He relocated you, He provided, and that's what He does because He is faithful and He's an on-time God, as we always say. He is an on-time God, and He's a God who can. And so just really quickly, guys, I want to say good evening to those of you that have tuned in on Facebook. Brother Richard, good evening. Thank you for joining in. Sister Diane, good evening. Sister Carol, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Miss Mina, I see you. Thank you again for joining. Thank you for your support. And just go ahead and take a moment to share an invite so others can listen in on the conversation. And so now that we talked, hey Denai J, thank you for joining. Now that we talked and everything, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret, a little tiny secret. This woman sitting next to me is my mama. Miss Gio is my mama. So all my crazy and everything that you guys see, this is why. This is why. And so the reason that, we came together is because, again, we were talking and it was just flowing, and it was good. It was like, wow, and you don't realize how much wisdom someone has unless you have those deep conversations and those deep experiences like we had today that really truly let you know who that person is, who they are. And by their actions, their reactions, and their feelings, they're human. Yeah, she's my mom,
Human.
but she's a human.
Yes.
She's a human, and I felt like today, so many things happened, but we were able to connect in a different level, and a different level of understanding from mother and daughter versus, woman to woman, mother to daughter, daughter to mom. So it was really, really cool. And so that's why when we were talking, we thought about, wow, the spirit of giving. And it was nothing compared to what I was going to talk to you guys about tonight, because I wanted to talk to you guys about caregivers and all that, being the month that we are in. But it does relate, because we have to be so mindful that every single person in your life can be a caregiver, or is someone that cares about you and for you in so many ways. And sometimes we don't value that, or we undervalue that because of our perspective. So where is our perspective tonight? Where's your perspective as it pertains to those people around you? The people that should be the most important to you, the ones you live with. I know we've talked about before, which I used to struggle with, to be honest with you. Are you caring for everybody outside in the world, and you're forgetting the people that you live with, that you do life with?
yourself
yourself
most of the time.
And I will never forget, in my hardest time, just a couple years ago, the only person that was able to figure out something was wrong with Yeye was this woman right here. Like, I know you're not okay, what's going on? And she tried to get in, and she tried, but she didn't push it under the rug. She knew something was going on, and she wanted to know, and she wanted me to open up about it, whatever it was, or multiple things, and help me through it. And so that is the spirit of giving. That is the spirit of a mother wanting the best for her daughter, her child, especially in our case, because, you've been through everything. You've been through everything with me, and she has seen the worst. I remember recently when I had my last medical emergency, when I was little, let me rewind. When I was little, I used to tell the doctors, take care of her, I'm good. I thought I was Superman. Take care of her, I'm good. Meanwhile, I was not so good. But this time around, I'm 35 years old. I'm in what I considered the worst moment in my life. She flew in, didn't think twice, flew in and took care of me the entire time. And when I tell her, wow, like that was the most terrifying experience of my life, she's like, oh, you have no idea. that's
the one she knows.
That's what you remember. That's nothing, So I appreciate that, because that allows me to grow in knowing that I've been through worse, that I have conquered worse, because my mother has been by my side the entire time, and that, God brings us together in those moments. He brings us together. He gives us that unity. He gives us that strength. And as long as we don't forget about that, as long as we don't forget where our strength comes from, who our strength comes from, where our miracles come from, everything is possible. Everything is possible.
Exactly. And the most important part about tonight was that we were just sitting, waiting for her time for her show, and we were talking about caregiving. And I said, so what did that mean to you? She goes, what do you mean?
What do you
mean?
What does that mean to me?
Yeah, I say, I want you to tell me in your heart, what comes from your heart to say a caregiving. So she started looking at me like, "The woman is crazy. She's just crazy." I said, "No, I just wanted to know." She said, "You don't know what that means, Mom?" I'm like, "Yes, I do. I just want to hear from you." He said, "Somebody that cares for somebody else." I said, the more important part about a caregiving is somebody that cares with their heart for somebody else, unconditionally. When somebody can just give you their life for you, and don't ask for anything. So that was the subject tonight. It wasn't just to care money or support somebody or like fight for transportation with somebody. It's more at this time, and the way everything is going on is about love.
Right.
It's about care, giving, love. Listen to somebody, make a phone call, love each other, forgiveness.
Exactly.
I was in a horrible situation myself. Maybe I did it myself today, but I was able to pray it, and I asked God to put it in my heart. What I should do? Should I leave? Should I stay? What am I going to do? And you know what? My answer was quick. It said, do what's in your heart. Find peace on yourself. And then we came here, and then we're here. So God works in mysterious ways. And I always say that. And He put you in different places for a reason. Yes. And today that was the reason.
That was the reason. And I'm always trying to drag her over here with me. Like, we're always far away when she's in town. We're always all over the place. But today it was like, oh, I'll go with you to church, and, we'll do this and this. And I'm like, okay. You didn't know I have a show today, right? Okay, well, you're coming. So that was cool. So that's to tell you guys that, again, the power of sincerity, the power of love, of peace, of unity is so important. And with what we've gone through just in the past couple days, we receive the miracle of life, a miracle from God. And yet, still receiving a miracle from God, you still go through hardships. You still go through disagreements. You still go through shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Should have, coulda, wouldas. But then it comes to, it is up to us how we are going to deal with the situation, how we are going to grasp it, and if we are children of God and we pray and we believe, we have to know that we have a responsibility to handle those situations totally different than how anybody else would, or the flesh would. We no longer function in the flesh. It's in our spirit. It's what God would want us to do. It's what's right. It's it's from the heart. And at the end of the day, family is family, blood is blood. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We used to have a joke that said, it meant we stick together no matter what. No matter what, we stick together. We're glue. It's like the Powerpuff Girls or the Three Musketeers. We always stick together. And so that is what this season is all about. We always talk about season, and this is what this season is all about. That no matter what comes your way, the good, the bad, and the ugly, embrace it. Embrace every experience that God throws your way, that life throws your way, because it's here to teach you something. And you're not going to get out of that situation until you learn whatever it is that God has placed you there to learn. And sometimes that means putting down our guard.
Humility.
Being humble. Are you going to be humble enough to receive what God has for you and the message that God has for you? Are you going to be humble enough to accept the people around you, the help that is around you that sometimes we fail to see? Because we're so caught up in ourselves, in our human understanding, in our selfishness. Is that a word? Selfishness. And so when we are children of God, we have to be selfless. We definitely have to be, and that's not something I don't want to say we have to learn to be selfless. Once either you have it or you don't. Either, it's in you, whether the spirit is in you, you're selfless. As the mother is. This woman, from one day to the next, flew down to take care of her grandson, her now grandson.
I'm a grandmother.
She's a grandma, and I'm a titi.
So excited.
And the same way that she did when I had my medical emergency, and she's done my entire life. So that's definitely something to be grateful for. And if you have people like that in your life, I would like for you to take a moment to think about it. Who do I have in my life that has that much importance, that will do those things for you? They don't come around very often. And the least we can do is say thank you. The least we can do is be there and just give those little tokens of appreciation, as we talked a little bit earlier. It's just a phone call, guys. Just a phone call, just a plate of food. For those of us that like to eat, arroz con pollo anytime. An ear to listen is more important than anything else, because we don't know what people are going through. We don't know.
Just a simple smile will make a difference.
Just a simple smile will make all the difference.
Exactly. You never know.
You never know. A simple hello to a stranger down the street will make a difference.
I used to pass by people and I go, you know them? No.
A simple smile.
With a smile.
And I bug her all the time. I'm like, smile for real. Give up. Smile for real. And so yes, guys. So again, this is the spirit of caring and the spirit of giving. And a smile does go a long way. Definitely. It does make all the difference. And, when you are people that talk with your face, literally your facial expressions talk for you, it's equally important or more important to make sure that, you give someone a smile, because a smile can definitely go a long way. So it's been awesome. It's been a very heartwarming experience, and I'm very grateful, Miss Gio, Mommy, that you're here. And guys, give a smile. A smile is free. A smile is free. A hello is free. A plate of food is free. And we're here today, and tomorrow we don't know. So as our pastor always tells us, don't leave for tomorrow what you can do today. And growing up, I was always told, mañana, tomorrow, mañana, no more mañana, today. So don't leave for tomorrow what you can do today, and know that the best things the most rewarding things, the most medicinal things are free. A smile, a hug, a plate of food, a hello. All of those things that matter most are free. So thank you guys so much. Good evening, Sister Diane. I see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Mommy, for
Thank you, Jesse, for inviting me.
joining. And thank you all for being out there on another episode of Yes with Yesse. It's been very, very awesome to be here with you guys once again. I want to invite you guys, as always, to please support your favorite station, New Season Gospel FM. Ways to give are on the screen. Cash App, $, New Season WC, Zelle 954-536-1821. And you can always go right to the website, newseasonfm.com. And if none of those work, go ahead and send us a check. Send us un chequecito to New Season, 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida, 33351. And make sure to join us again tomorrow for Fun Friday with Pastor Steve alongside Minister Brown for another awesome morning of the Pastor Steve Show. Don't forget, we're still collecting cans, guys, for the Ruel Buchanan Foundation. We are collecting the cans and make sure that no one goes out without a meal this Thanksgiving holiday season. So you can always come by and drop off your cans, and we will be more than happy to assist you. And again, have an amazing rest of your week, and we will see you all over again next week. As we continue, I will see you guys actually Monday for Latin Monnier.
I have to say something now that
Aye.
I'm sitting right next to you.
Ay, ay, ay.
And I just want you to know, because we were talking about the purpose of God in a human being. I'm looking at Jessie and I see her, and she was in the hospital. She was little. She might be 5 or 6. And she used to tell me, Mom, I'm going to walk in that radio stations, the Lollipop in Miami Children's Hospital.
The radio lollipop.
But I spent a lot of times in that hospital, weeks and months. And we used to say, I say, you can do whatever you want. You know, you can have your dreams. That's your dream. You do it. And one day we went to, she was like 7 or 8. No, I'm sorry. She was like 5 or 6. Went to the doctor, and the doctor told me she was only going to live till she was 7. So don't, just want you to get ready. You get prepared. So I got up. I got my kid, and I said, you are not God. And you're not going to tell me when my daughter's going to die, because you don't know that. You don't know that answer. So I took Jessie to another doctor, and here we are. And I can't believe it. The emotions that I'm going through to see her doing this.
Yeah. It's I'm not gonna cry. I am not gonna cry. It's pretty amazing, and it's amazing for that reason. And it's interesting because of years upon years later, I was actually given the opportunity to volunteer at the Radio Lollipop, and I sent my mom a message. I'm like, Mommy, I made it because it meant so much, because my hardest times were lived in that hospital. So it is awesome. It is awesome to have this opportunity. I will always be grateful to New Season Worship Center, New Season Gospel FM, Pastor Steve, and the entire team for embracing inclusion, for embracing me, for mentoring me. And that's what it's all about, and we definitely can't do life alone.
No, and I always teach Jessie since she was little. I said, you're capable to do whatever you want. You're capable to reach your dreams, do it, but sacrifice everything that is hard, everything that you really dream with is a sacrifice. And I used to tell her when she was growing up, go to the hospital, move, you can do it.
Oh,
and
Lord.
I sent her to volunteer at Memorial Hospital, and she volunteered here and there, and I would pick her up and drop her off or do whatever I could. But it's just about, that is when the care given comes in. And that's my point. You care about that person, you push that person, you love that person. And that is the beginning of really being a caregiver, so you be able to find what your purpose in life is.
Yes.
And thank you, Jessie. I really appreciate it. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes, that's a great thing that you just said, is being a caregiver is caring enough
Enough.
to instill the greatness in that person, and letting that person be who they are meant to come, who God has made them to be all the way around.
And not alone.
And
It's
we're-
God.
And we can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. It's God first, God, community, and everything else, that makes us who we are. So, with that said, do not, and I always say it. It's very interesting you said that, because I always say, do not do life alone. It's boring. It's not worth it, and you can't do life alone. I know I can't. I can't. I don't want to. It's a lot harder than it needs to be when you do life alone. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I'm so proud I haven't cried. Haven't cried. So awesome, guys. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing experience. Thank you all on the other side listening this evening. Good evening, Sister Salma. Thank you for joining. And again, guys, hey, see you guys tomorrow morning on the Pastor Steve Show. You guys are there. You know the ways to give. We will see you again on Sunday for Church Day, Sunday at 11 a.m. And then we will do it all over again on Monday for Latin Monday, aka Latin Monday. Yay. Monday. Get it? Okay. Anyway, have an amazing rest of your evening and a great weekend. And we will see you all next week.
Your number one gospel station.